black thing go from left to right, and I thought, I'm going to die out here. No one's ever going to know. And I couldn't believe what my eyeballs were showing me. I'll never forget how evil the eyes were. It was horrible. I mean, I've never seen nothing that evil.
It ran towards me at a rate that I can't even explain, turned and stared at me. And this look of, I just want to kill you. I want to say it was human, but it wasn't.
He was yelling at me to grab a gun, grab a gun. I was like, for what? He said, just grab a gun. And there's footprints all the way to the door of my house. It had went inside my garage, all the way to the door.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
You're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. Check us out online at sasquatchchronicles.com. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. It sure is nice to be back after taking a week off. Gosh, I felt kind of lost without the show, without you guys. It's nice to have you here. Thanks so much for listening. Gosh, what a week. What a week it's been. Tom Petty died. Gosh, that guy got me through tough times. I absolutely love his music. Absolutely love everything Tom Petty. And I really wanted to do kind of a tribute to him tonight. And I hope wherever he's at, he's resting in peace. And I absolutely, again, I love his music. I loved it through the 80s. I loved it through the 90s. And I even went back, started listening to the old Tom Petty stuff, and forgot how much I actually love Tom Petty. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I know it's been a rough week. We had the Vegas shootings. Senseless act. Absolute senseless. Makes no sense at all why someone would do such a thing. But I know that's not why you guys are here tonight. So thank you so much for being here. If you've had an encounter, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Going to be speaking to Matt tonight, and Matt comes to us from the Southwest. He's actually had 2 visual sightings, and he'll be talking about those tonight, along with some of his other encounters. And then first I'm going to bring on Renee. She's from Canada, from British Columbia, and she's going to be sharing an encounter she had back in 1977 when she was on the second floor of a barn with her sister, and she saw one of these creatures. Very, very fascinating account. I'm excited to be here tonight, guys. I know I've only been gone a week, but I feel like I've been gone for a lifetime. It's nice to be back with you guys tonight. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Renee to the show. Renee, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, Wes. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, no, it's great to meet you. Great to have you on. If you would, could you start from the beginning and kind of walk us into your encounter? Tell us what you're out doing, and what did you see?
Okay, well, 40 years ago, when it was 1977, my family rented a house just north of the business they owned in Shawnigan Lake, which is on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. The house had a long, narrow treed driveway off the road, and it at one time had been a hobby farm, but hadn't been used as a farm for many years. So there was this very quaint little chicken coop and all these different outbuildings, and way in the back was a barn, and us kids used to play up there quite a bit. So I've sent you a map, Wes, and on it you can see on the left is the blue line is Shawnigan Lake Road, and the yellow circle and shows where the house is. So you can see that it's well hidden from the road. The X's are buildings that were not there 40 years ago, and the circles are trees. So it was all forested around there. So you can see the barn was really isolated. And our father had rigged up a zip line off the second floor of the barn, what used to be the hayloft. So we would go up there and spend hours ziplining off the second floor of the barn. And one day after school, my sister and I went up to the second floor of the barn, and we're ziplining and playing around. And you can see on the map I have drawn where the barn is. I put a little purple dot. There was a tiny little back window. The only way you could see out of the back of the barn on the second floor was to open this tiny little door. It was about a foot wide, 2 feet high, and it looked out, due east. And you can see I've drawn a great big rectangle. At that time, behind the barn, all those trees were about 4 to 6 feet high. It was as if someone had attempted to plant a Christmas tree farm. Or maybe it was just their attempt at reforestation, but you could tell that those trees had been planted by a human, not through, just natural planting, because they were spaced out, and they were all the same size. So my sister and I are on the second floor of the barn, and in behind it, we can hear the sound of very heavy footsteps and snapping and cracking of branches. So we kind of look at each other, and we go to the back of the barn on the second floor and open that tiny little window, and we both stick our faces in there and look out, and we see something walking at an angle. I have an arrow drawn on the picture. So this animal was walking from southwest to northeast, so at an angle to the barn. As I said, the trees were all 4 to 6 feet high. And this was much higher than the trees. And it was not a bear. It was walking on 2 feet. And it was not a hairy man or a nudist. It was neither of those things. We looked with our mouths hanging open, and we both knew, without speaking to each other, what we were seeing. We were seeing a Sasquatch. Now, in the 70s, there was some sort of renewed interest in Sasquatches. There had been a few movies and some chit-chat about it. So we had seen pictures of what some people said they had looked like through the limited sources of media that were available back then. So when we saw this, we knew it wasn't a bear or a human. We knew we were seeing a Sasquatch. And we stood there, and you can see on the arrow I've drawn 2 dots. That's where it was when it started walking. And the second dot is where it was when we decided to run. We turned around and ran right off the second floor of the barn. We did not use the zip line. We literally jumped from the second story, risking breaking our ankles, and we ran all the way back to the house, terrified. My sister says she remembers that I was screaming. I probably was once I hit the ground and we were running. We were terrified.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
We ran and we told my mom, who kind of laughed at us and shrugged it off, and she didn't think anything of it. But, that was 1977. That's a long time ago. And we still, to this day, both have the same recollections. Neither of us have shifted our memories to thinking, oh, that was a bear, or that was a local nudist or something, a hairy nudist. But no, we both maintain to this day that is what we saw. And we know we did because we observed it for a long time, and the trees were spaced out enough that as it was walking through, we could see its entire body at points.
How far away from you was this creature, do you think?
Okay, so let me see. If you were standing at home plate and the distance from home plate to second plate, I'd say it was twice that distance.
It's pretty close.
It's not that far away. And the barn itself was on a knoll, so it was already well above the tree line. So our vantage point was looking down. We were not looking through the trees. We were already well above the trees on the knoll, and being on the second floor of the barn, our vantage point was looking down at this, not level.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's gosh, you're really close to seeing this thing. Do you think the creature ever noticed that you guys were up there? Did it ever kind of look in your direction, or did you ever get the...
Well, if it did, it may have been when we hit the ground and I was apparently screaming. It may have